Contact. Oh, hey, welcome back to the shop. I'm trying to YouTube better, so I got the handbook. One of the things that I think I need to work on are my openings. And it says here that a strong opening can sometimes be achieved by starting your episode in the forest. Oh yeah. Or try selfie driving. Or if you don't like that, try walking fast and shaking the camera. However, the handbook warns against letting the viewers know that your entire episode is going to be about wiring. Oh, great. That handbook's coming in handy, I tell you. Today is about wiring. Hopefully it won't be too painful. I'm hoping that we just put in a couple of big harnesses and we don't have to do a bunch of troubleshooting with test lights and things, because I am not very good at that. There's two main wiring harnesses. There's one that goes in the engine bay, and then there's one that goes on the inside. On the inside, we'll really just be hooking up the steering wheel today, so that hopefully we can, turn this over with a key. Because again, the goal here is to get the truck started. So we'll worry about all the other things a little bit later. But I'd like to have the key in there, and that way we're not jumping across solenoids and things like that. But in order to do that, we need to get the battery ready. We need to get the cables ready. I do need to put on the fender on the passenger side, just because the wires kind of route through there so that they're kind of up out of the way and don't get pulled into the fan or anything like that. Same thing with the front bib. The front bib takes all the wires that cut across the front for lights and stuff. So we're going to put those two things in, get them prepped, get them installed. But the first thing we're going to do is we're going to head back to the hoard room and get the wiring harness that came out of this truck and see how it looks. Now, because I have the sickness, I have 3 wiring harnesses, but we're going to start with the wiring harness that came with the truck and see how bad it is. And we'll do that next. Welcome to the hoard room here. I don't usually let anybody see this, so you're very lucky today. I kind of have a thing for hoods and doors and bibs and air cleaner and distributors. But today we're here for this little guy right here. This is the original wiring harness. And again, because I have the sickness, there's 2 full wiring harnesses down there for $79. But let's take this one up and get it all out and see if it's going to work for us, or see if we need to get into those other boxes. I forgot we need 2 more things on our list this week. It's the cluster, and also we need to get the ignition coil, or the igniter, or whatever that is, put on. So we have a good couple more things here. So what I'm going to do is just get these unwound. I think there's actually like maybe 3 or 4 different cables here. So let me get them separated and we'll take a look at them. Yeah, so here, this is the one that goes inside of the engine bay. And I remember this now. So somebody cut off the Toyota plugs that plug into the fusible link, the previous owner, and had this hot wired to the battery. That's probably not a good situation. So probably are not going to use that one. This is the interior one, and we'll look at that in a second. The main thing we're looking for here is see if there's any broken stuff, torn apart stuff. Like this is missing. There's a little thing that goes over this, and then like if they put a radio in and kind of hacked up a bunch of wires, it'd be nice not to start from a situation where you've got a bunch of wires to fix. And then this little guy over here goes to the tail lights, and I think like the fuel sending unit. And these almost always have, I think, some additions to them, like this is probably for a trailer plug or something like that. So, but we don't need this one to get the car started, I don't think. So we're going to put that one on the back burner. All that being said, I think I'm going to go grab that other harness and take a look at it, because I really don't want to have to fix these ends here if I don't have to, right? So let's go grab that and take a look at it. Real quick, I actually took the time to mark all of these. That's oil, starter, and almost never do that sort of thing. I'm probably just going to throw us on super speed here, and I'll just kind of run through all these boxes, and it won't take long. But I'll try to pick out the best ones here, and we'll get this one going now. All right, we're going to use this harness. The thing I was looking for, it's these two plugs right here. These two plugs go to the power on the truck, and they go to the fusible link. So you want those to be, I would want those to be intact. Let's get in close here. It's not terribly dirty, but it is dirty. It's got grime all over it. All the plugs are dirty. So we're going to try and throw this in the old evaporust here and just see how good it comes out. Like these wires here, and how clean we get these plugs. So let's do that next. Actually, let's see if we could just do that. It's just sitting right here. Trying not to drop my camera in there. Oh yeah, there we go. I buy it by the gallon. Don't mess around. And this is like supposed to be super safe, so I just don't bother too much about. Oops, down in there. So I don't bother too much about gloves or anything there. So all right, we'll start the timer and we'll come back and look at that in a couple hours. All right, let's take it back inside and see how it looks. All right, according to the YouTube Automotive Handbook, we have exceeded the amount of time that we should be spending on wiring harnesses. So, but as promised, here's some before and after. So this is before we started working on it. This is the inside harness. Just generally pretty dirty. And then after we ran it through the evaporust and gave it a good wash, you can see that it's a lot cleaner. Not perfect, obviously, but it takes all the kind of the grit and grime off the wires and, cleans everything out. And I think I'm sure it helps on connections as well. So the next thing we're going to do is the fender. And it's probably going to be just kind of, pretty much just time lapse there as well. So, because it's just me kind of cleaning it up, but that'll be next. All right, so we're going to finish up pressure washing here. I am going to take it inside here next and polish up that inner fender. It's really easy to do when it's out of the truck here. You just throw it on the wheel there and polish it out. And I think you'll see that it came out really well for the amount of effort that it took. So, and it's the easiest time to do it because it's out of the truck and very accessible. After we finish this up, we are going to work on the positive cable. I need to hook the factory plug up to my new cable because the old cable I have is not in very good shape. So we'll do that next. All right, so I have this battery cable that came with the truck, and it needs to be replaced. And so I've had this one hanging on my wall for about 7 years now to do that. And I do want to try to put that little, and I thought I'd try something here that I haven't tried before yet. I tried it on a smaller wire and it seemed to work okay, but now I have to get this little plug here is what plugs into the fusible link, which then connects all the power to the car. And I don't have one of these, and I was not able to just kind of find one right away, but I want to use it because, again, that kind of keeps all the safety involved. So I got these little heat them up, solder them all at once things at on Temu of all places. One of those 1030 buys, and had a few cocktails. So I'm going to give it a try. I did try it on a smaller wire and it seemed to work pretty well. So let's give it a try. I think it'll be a better connection because what it does is in the middle here, this is solder. And so when you heat it up, it actually melts the solder, and then you have the two wires in there kind of overlapping. And I think it'll make a good connection here. So I'm going to give it a try here. Now I want to put this on here and cover the whole thing up, cover my sins, so to speak. But I'm not quite sure. I want to get it out of the way so I don't melt it initially. I think I can just maybe wrinkle that down there and then put a piece of tape on there to hold it. Let's try it. Okay, and then this goes in here like that, and then this goes in here like this. Okay. All right, let's let that cool down for a second and we'll check it out. Well, it looks okay. I think it's okay. I'm trying to there. I could definitely see the solders in the middle there on both sides. And when I pull on it, it's pretty stout. So I think we're going to give it a try here. So. For the positive side and see how it works. Well, let's put it all in the truck. All right, let's start off with something easy. So I'm just going to throw this battery cable on. I ended up trimming the top off of here a little bit. Let me make sure you can see that. Just because it was really stuck down and I was afraid it would maybe hit like something in here. So I did trim that off a little bit, but I think it looks fine. One other quick note is if you look here, this is the cable that I wanted to put on, and this is a fusible link, and it connects, these two things connect power into the truck. If you remember that first wiring harness we looked at didn't have these, somebody just clipped it off and hardwired it. So this is maybe the rightish way to do that. All right, so next let's go ahead, I think, and get the battery all set up here. Okay, there's supposed to be 4 little insulators, and if you buy them from SOR, they're like $9 a piece. Well, actually like $5. So I'm going to put these on. I think these will do just as good of a job. And I think we'll save some money because that was like a universal pack from Amazon. All right, nobody laugh at me. I'm reusing some bolts from, they used to be on the doors. So the YouTube video handbook says that the proper number of ratchet turns is 3. So you show one starting, and then you show one at the end, putting the final tight down on there. Whoa. We're going to throw this battery in real quick. It's the battery that came with the truck, and it is old. But I threw it on the trickle charger, and it says it's good, so we'll get a new battery at some point, but at least for now, hopefully this one will get the engine turning over. There you go. That'll go on there at some point. Oops. All right, let's get that fender next. All right, so let's put this fender on. So if you look at the mount, there's 2 open-ended slots right here, and then 2 that bolt there, and those come around here. Those 2 slide into that. So we got those in there, and hopefully it'll go right in there. So let's give it a try. And I always thought that the fender is one of the neatest parts of the Land Cruiser. Let's see, can I do that from up top? Got one in there. Why is that funky? There we go. All right. I'll bring you over here on this side so you can kind of see what we want to do. So we just want this to line up pretty close to this. So this just needs to come up a little bit. But you kind of need a third hand to hold it, twist it, and everything else. There we go. Well, once you put those other bolts in there, I think that brings it up like that. That's what you want right there. See how this just kind of goes straight all the way across to the end here, and that'll be good enough. All right, so next we're going to put the outside wiring harness in, and I might go take 5 though first. So this is the wiring harness we need, and I'm just going to bring this over here. And there's a bunch of big plugs that go in through that hole, and then it comes, let's see if you can see down here, behind this piece of metal here. And then we'll put the bib on next, but there's some wires that run around the front for the lights and stuff. So let's see if we can figure that out. All right, let's see here. So this goes in here. Oh shoot. I'll get that in a second. Okay, so these stay here. These stay here, and then all the rest of this needs to snake up behind this. Alrighty. Alright, well, that was fun. So this is all in. Now all we need to do is connect everything. I'm going to put the front bib on next and just wrap these wires around here. There's a pretty long pigtail of wires that go around, so just want to get those kind of tucked up away where they're supposed to be. So we'll tackle that next. All right, let's grab this bib. I didn't do much prep on this bib. It's okay. It's got a bunch of primer on it, but other than that, it's in pretty good shape. Okay, this just sets down in here. There's 2 bolts there. And then over here on the side, there's a couple bolts that kind of receive that in. There we go. Just like that. So let me just get these started down here. Again, the best way to align all this from everything I've read and talked to people who know more than me is to keep all the body parts loose and just kind of start to get them lined up one by one by one. So we'll get this in here to keep it in. It's another one of those places where, man, if you had a little teeny tiny hand, it sure would be a lot easier. So now we can just lay this down and we can put the wires in here. Let's see, these stay here. And then this harness. Oh, these things are brittle. Oh. Goes in just like that. All right. So the outside harness is at least laid in place. Got the bib on here. I'm going to tighten a couple bolts down so it doesn't move around. And then we'll start on the inside. All right, I'm going to cheat a little bit here. So I did put the steering wheel in and the gauge cluster. I just got them in there and got all the wires, plugs hooked up. It's a little bit difficult to film. Mostly it's just me putting out the vibe when I looked at the videos. So a couple things. Fuse box goes here, and then a big harness comes across here. There is a section that goes outside there at the top, and then just runs along the dash underneath. And that's where we had all the wires coming in from the outside. So again, not the easiest thing to film and probably not very interesting. So let's mark those off the list though. Okay, I think I have everything done and ready to at least try to turn this over. I ran a negative cable down. I put there were some missing fuses. I hooked up all the connections here to where it should turn over when I hit it with the key. And so I'm going to, but before we do that, we got to do the fire test. So I'm going to touch this. I've got this hooked up. Let me put you down here. The positive cable, at least touching here. I've got it hooked into the wire, the power for the truck. And I've ran a cable here. So either the battery's dead or we're not shorting out anywhere. So, okay, let me tighten that up real quick. All right, I think that's good for now. Okay. So here we go. Contact. Oh. Well, I was hoping for something. Let's see what this battery looks like here. Oh, only 8 volts. Darn it. All right. Let's set up for take 2 here. All right. Kind of running out of gas here. I think this battery is dead, so I did do a little bit of testing. When I turn the key to the start position, I only get like 9 volts there, and it's not very much. So we're going to pretend for a second like that battery's dead. Now, I did something very dangerous. I went and got the battery out of my running driving Land Cruiser. And we're going to try that in here and see if that gets us going. All right, so that's not on fire. All right, I got that tight enough. I don't smell anything burning. The fusible link is not on fire. Let's see if we get anything with the key. Contact? Ah, nothing. Oh, forgot to hook the thing back up. Okay. Got the battery in. I know this battery's good. I got the cables hooked up. I hooked the starter lead back up. I don't smell anything burning. Contact? Ah. Well, here, let's just try this. I wonder if I need to ground that out to the motor, because that's not even, this is like a, this battery is definitely not dead, and that is not acting like it's connecting. All right. So I went out and looked at my other Land Cruiser, which you're going to see very soon next episode, I think. And it has an engine ground and a frame ground. I thought I could cheat and just frame ground it, but I'm going to try to connect it right to the engine and see if that works. And if it doesn't, I'm calling it a night. I'm hot and tired. All right, let's give it a try here. Contact? Oh, that was it. So let's do that one more time. That was awesome. Oh, yeah. Oh. All right, no more of that. All right, one more time. All right, well, we're going to call that a successful run. So it's hooked up enough that we can run the engine with the key. We still need to check for spark and things like that. And then I have a bunch of doodads to hook up here that so that we can, don't want to say it too loudly, but maybe put a little gas in this thing, maybe get it started in the next episode. So thanks for watching. This is the point in the video where the handbook says I should politely ask for a like, subscription, and comment. However, avoid phrases like smash that like button. Additionally, encourage viewers to watch your other videos. That's some pretty good advice. Thanks for watching.